He thought he bought a smart pet, but it was an alien girl with a secret. The colony night was strange that day. Not because of the weather, not because of any danger, but because the animals went silent. The farms around Human Colony Delta 5 were usually loud at night, machines humming, insects buzzing, wind pushing through tall grass. But tonight, everything stopped. Even the air felt heavy, like the world was holding its breath. A young girl named Myra, only 9 years old, noticed it first. Standing on the balcony of her home, she looked at the sky with confused eyes. "Mom, the stars look wrong." Her mother didn't understand. No one did. But Myra kept staring. The stars were moving, slowly, quietly, like shadows crossing behind a curtain. Across the colony, people felt the same strange tension. Men paused mid-work. Women looked up from cooking. Guards at the wall stopped talking. The whole settlement of 20,000 humans felt something in their bones. Something was coming. Above them, hidden behind the moon's dark side, Commander Xian prepared his fleet. He was Dravik tall, armored, born for war. His species had conquered 12 worlds. They believed humans would be number 13. Xian stood on his command deck, claws resting behind his back, eyes cold. "Scan completed," his officer reported. "Colony is undefended, no heavy weapons, no shield systems." Xian smiled, a slow, cruel smile. "Pathetic," he said. "This will be over in 1 hour." His ships disconnected from hiding. The stars shifted again. This time the humans noticed. Commander Elena Ward, leader of Delta 5, rushed into the control tower. The screens were filled with red warnings, unknown signatures, multiple, large. "How many ships?" she asked. "Too many," her officer whispered. Ward closed her eyes for 1 second, just one, then opened them with hard determination. "All citizens to shelters, activate all defenses, no panic." But she knew panic would come anyway. Myra and her mother ran with the crowd as sirens screamed across the colony. People shouted. Soldiers rushed into position. Children cried. The sky above was no longer a sky, it was a battlefield waiting to open. The first Dravik ship broke through the clouds. It was massive, black metal, burning engines, a shadow with wings. It shook the ground when it descended outside the colony walls. Then another landed, then another. The noise was like thunder cracking the planet in half. Myra stared in fear. Her mother pulled her away. The Dravik emerged from their ships, towering armored aliens with glowing weapons. They moved in perfect lines, like blades slicing through air. Their leader, Commander Xian, stepped forward. He looked at humans like someone looks at insects. "This colony is now claimed by the Dravik Empire," the translator drone said. "Humans will obey. Surrender is required." Silence. No one moved. No one spoke. Commander Ward stepped forward, keeping her voice steady. "We do not want conflict," she said. "We prefer peace." Xian tilted his head, confused. Why were humans so calm? Why were they not begging or running? Ward continued, "But if you attack us..." She paused. Everyone waited. "We will learn you." Xian blinked. "Learn you? What did that even mean?" He shrugged. "Begin the assault." A Dravik soldier fired first, a beam of burning blue plasma that blew open the colony gate. Screams filled the air as humans scattered. Soldiers tried to hold positions, but their rifles were no match for alien armor. Xian walked calmly through the chaos. "This is too easy," he said. But his smile faded fast. Very fast. Because something impossible happened. A human soldier named Aiden Cole got hit by a plasma blast. He fell, rolling behind a crate, blood on his shoulder, pain everywhere. He should have stayed down. But Aiden didn't stay down. He breathed once, twice. His eyes sharpened, his movements changed. He stood again, faster than before, calmer than before. He watched how the Dravik aimed. He predicted their rhythm. He fired a single shot, right into the alien's joint, the only weak point. Xian froze. How did a human learn that after just one hit? Then more strange things happened. A mechanic grabbed a broken drone and rewired it into a bomb during the battle. A farmer used his irrigation system as a weapon, turning the pipes into steam traps. A schoolteacher coordinated civilians better than trained officers. An old man with shaking hands found a perfect sniper position without anyone telling him. Engineers welded scrap metal into shields that reflected plasma fire like mirrors. Xian's eyes widened in disbelief. Humans were not fighting like prey. They were fighting like creatures evolving under pressure. Every minute they got smarter. Every mistake made them stronger. Every loss sharpened their minds. Xian whispered to himself, "These humans change. They learn in real time." By sunset, the Dravik, Galaxy's strongest warriors, had taken heavy losses, and the weak humans were suddenly unpredictable, dangerous, and terrifying. That night, Xian made his first private recording. To anyone who finds this, humans are not what they seem. If threatened, they transform. The war we expected is not the war we got. Outside, the colony fires burned bright. But human eyes burned brighter. The unexpected war had begun. When humans chain. The smoke from the first battle had not even cleared when Commander Xian realized something was deeply wrong with this war. His soldiers, Dravik elites trained since birth, should have crushed the colony easily. But they hadn't. Instead, the humans did something no species in the galaxy had ever done. They adapted during the fight. Dravik scouts returned with reports that made no sense. "Commander, the humans you wounded earlier. They fought better the second time." Xian stared at the scout, thinking he misheard. "Explain." The scout shifted nervously. "They learn fast, sir, too fast." Xian dismissed him with a growl, but a chill had already crawled down his spine. At dawn, the colony was quiet. Not peaceful quiet, the quiet before a storm. Smoke floated over broken walls. Broken drones sparked. Human soldiers hid behind sandbags and metal plates. Everyone waited for the next attack. Commander Elena Ward stood with binoculars, scanning the horizon. She had not slept, but her eyes burned with something dangerous. "Focus." Around her, the colony looked like a different place than yesterday. In only one night, drones had been repaired. New turrets were built from scrap metal. Engineers had redesigned the power grid to overload Dravik sensors. Civilians had set traps using farm equipment and mining tools. It was like the whole colony had become one giant mind, learning and improving together. Ward whispered to herself, "Humans don't fear attacks. We grow from them." Aiden Cole, the soldier who survived the plasma wound, stood beside her. His arm was wrapped in bandages, but he moved like a veteran warrior. "Commander," he said, "I didn't sleep. My mind kept building plans." "What kind of plans?" Aiden pointed at the valley outside. "Ambush plans. I can almost see how the Dravik think." Ward placed a hand on his shoulder. This wasn't normal human behavior. Something had awakened in her people. High above, Xian watched through his visor as humans rebuilt faster than expected. "How?" Xian muttered. "Where are they getting resources?" His officer replied, "Sir, these creatures break apart their own machines and rebuild them into new ones. They are improvising." Improvising. No species improvised during war. War was order, structure, precision. Humans were breaking every rule Xian understood. "Commander," the officer added, Our scanners detect multiple heat signatures hidden behind the colony wall. Xian clicked his mandibles. Prepare another strike. We will overwhelm them before they adapt again. But he wasn't prepared for what happened next. At sunrise, the Dravik moved forward. Their armored boots thudded on the ground. Their plasma cannons glowed. Their war cries echoed through the valley. Inside the colony, silence. No soldiers on the walls. No movement behind the barricades. No sound. Xian raised a claw. Something is wrong, shields up. That was when the ground exploded. Humans had dug tunnels overnight, hundreds of meters long. Aiden and a team of engineers burst from underground like rising shadows, attacking Dravik troops from behind. Aiden fired his rifle with perfect prediction. Every shot hit armor joints. Every movement flowed like he had practiced it for years. Xian watched in shock. This cannot be natural. And it got worse. One human soldier slid between two Dravik warriors, grabbed one plasma rifle, and modified it mid-battle, revering the polarity and firing it back at them. Another group used farming drones to drop heavy metal nets that trapped Dravik soldiers. A group of children, actual children, operated surveillance drones from a school bunker with expert efficiency. Every human, young or old, was adapting. Learning. Evolving. Xian felt something he had not felt in decades. Fear. Aiden dove behind cover as enemy fire hit the ground near him. He wasn't the same man he had been yesterday. His heartbeat was slower, his focus sharper. He understood Dravik movement patterns. He understood their firing rhythm. He understood their weakness. He whispered to his squad. They aim high when stressed, stay low. And they rotate weapons after firing 3 shots. How do you know? A soldier asked. Aiden didn't have an answer. I just do. Commander Ward watched from the wall, amazed. Humans don't just adapt, she said softly. They evolve during danger. Xian's rage exploded. Retreat, he ordered. But his soldiers hesitated. Dravik did not retreat. Retreat now, he roared again. For the first time in Dravik history. They ran from prey. They regrouped near their landing zone. Xian paced back and forth, shaking with shock. This is impossible, he muttered. No species adapts so fast. No species improves during combat. He looked at the burning colony. What are these humans? He replayed the footage from the battle. Aiden dodging plasma fire. Engineers turning scrap into weapons. Children coordinating drones with perfect precision. It made no sense. Unless humans carried a trait no other species had. A trait hiding inside them like a sleeping beast. Xian felt his throat tighten as a terrible thought entered his mind. Humans were not evolving to win. They were evolving to survive anything. If one small colony could hold off a Dravik force, what would happen if they pushed humans too far? Xian shivered. For the first time in his life, he wondered if he had just provoked something unstoppable. And in the command logs of his ship, he recorded a new message. Day 2. The humans are becoming more dangerous with every hour. If they keep changing like this, we will not survive the next battle. The unexpected war was not just a conflict now. It was becoming a nightmare. One that the Dravik might not wake from. When humans break, they become something else. Night fell over Delta 5 like a heavy blanket soaked in smoke and fear. The Dravik had retreated, but no one celebrated. Humans didn't cheer. They didn't shout victory cries. They only worked, repairing walls, carrying the wounded, setting new traps, planning for dawn. Because everyone felt it in their bones. The Dravik would return. And next time, they would come to kill. Commander Elena Ward stood near the colony's burned gate, staring at the ruins. Sparks danced over metal. Broken suits lay still. The bodies of humans and Dravik both were covered with sheets. War changes people. But what was happening here was changing humans at their core. She looked at Aiden Cole, once just a young soldier. Now his eyes were different, sharper, colder, focused like a predator who saw everything in slow motion. "Go rest," Ward told him. "I can't," Aiden answered simply. "My mind won't stop running." Running. More like evolving. Far above, Commander Zian also couldn't rest. He paced inside his command ship, claws scraping the metal floor. Every replay of the battle twisted his gut. His soldiers, stronger, faster, armored, had been outsmarted by humans. But that wasn't the worst part. "Commander," an officer whispered, "we captured a human transmission." Zian snapped, "Play it." The recording played audio from inside the colony. Children crying. Adults comforting them. And then, a human scream. Not a scream of fear. Not a scream of pain. A scream of pure, overwhelming rage. It wasn't animalistic. It wasn't wild. It was controlled. Zian froze. "What is that?" he whispered. The officer's voice shook. "We think this is what humans do when pushed too far." Zian didn't understand yet. But he would soon. Morning came like a warning. Dark clouds, cold wind, and a strange quiet. Humans stood ready. Eyes tired. Hands steady. No fear. But under the surface, something was boiling. The Dravik attacked swiftly. 3 ships descended at once, firing plasma beams that tore through the colony walls. Explosions shook the ground. Buildings collapsed. Fires erupted across the settlement. Zian led the assault himself. He jumped from his ship, landing with a heavy thud. "No mercy," he commanded. "NTHEM." Dravik soldiers charged forward like a wave of armored destruction. They expected humans to panic. Instead, they saw something new. Something terrifying. Aiden Cole was helping civilians evacuate a small school bunker when a plasma blast hit the building. The explosion threw him across the ground. His ears rang. Dust filled the air. Children screamed inside. Aiden pushed himself up just in time to see the second blast hit. Half the building collapsed. Inside were 12 children. Something inside Aiden's mind snapped. Not broken, but opened. His heartbeat slowed. His breathing became calm. His pupils tightened to tiny points. It wasn't fear. It wasn't desperation. It was rage. Cold, focused, intelligent rage. The kind of rage humans felt when someone threatened their family. Aiden's voice changed. Low, measured. "Everyone get behind me." The Dravik soldier responsible stepped forward, laughing. "You humans are too emotional." Aiden didn't answer. He moved. Not fast. Not slow. Just perfectly timed. He dodged the first plasma shot by leaning 1 inch to the right, like he had predicted it before it was fired. He snatched a metal pole from the rubble and, with a single strike, shattered the Dravik's helmet. The alien collapsed instantly. Aiden's eyes glowed with something new. Something Dravik's sensors couldn't identify. Ward saw it from a distance. "It's happening," she whispered. "The human rage mode." Because humans were strange creatures. They could cry while fighting. Laugh while dying. Break apart inside but still stand up. And when someone hurt their young, their rage became a weapon sharper than any blade. Zian marched forward, stepping over rubble and fire. He expected chaos. Instead, he saw humans fighting like advanced warriors. Aiden leading a small squad. a medic using two broken shields to corner a Dravik, a farmer using his tractor to crush alien drones, a teacher throwing powdered chemical that blinded Dravik soldiers, children directing drone strikes with perfect coordination. This wasn't random bravery. This was transformation. Xian looked directly at Aiden across the battlefield. Their eyes met, and Xian finally understood. Humans were not increasing strength. They were unlocking something already inside them. A survival instinct forged from thousands of years of hardship, war, disaster, and struggle. On Dravik homeworlds, war made soldiers. On Earth, war made monsters. Aiden charged through smoke, his face quiet, controlled, terrifying in its focus. He didn't shout. He didn't roar. He simply moved with purpose. Xian fired a blast toward him. Aiden dodged by less than a centimeter. Xian fired again. Aiden caught the alien's wrist, twisted it, and forced the plasma rifle upward. The blast hit a Dravik drone. How? Xian demanded. Aiden's answer was simple. You made us angry. He struck. Not with madness, not with fury, but with cold precision. Every hit was a message. You hurt our children. You broke our home. You crossed a line. And now you deal with the part of humanity the galaxy has never seen. Xian fell back, heart pounding. He wasn't fighting a soldier. He was fighting a human who had entered a state beyond fear, beyond pain, beyond limits. His earliest message now made sense. If you push a human to the edge, they don't fall. They become the edge. And as the battle raged, Xian recorded a new log. Day 3. Humans do not have a rage mode. They have an entire battlefield inside their minds. And when it wakes up, not even the strongest armies can survive. The war was no longer about territory. No longer about conquest. It had become personal. It had become emotional. It had become human. And the Dravik had no idea how to fight that. When human minds enter the battlefield, the third day after the invasion did not begin with explosions. It began with quiet clicking sounds. Tiny noises, metallic, unusual. Commander Alina Ward woke up to those sounds echoing across the colony. At first she panicked, thinking Dravik machines had breached the walls during the night. But when she ran outside, she froze in shock. The entire colony was crawling with machines. Except they were Dravik. They were human-made. Small drones hovering like metallic bees. Rolling robots built from old vacuum cleaners. Turrets made from scrap pipes and heating coils. A giant farm exosuit repurposed as a walking shield. And in the middle of it all stood Dr. Isaac Rowe, head engineer of Delta 5. Hair messy, eyes glowing with ideas, holding a tablet full of blueprints scribbled by an insane genius. Ward stared at him. What did you do? He smiled like a mad scientist who had finally been allowed to break the rules. Commander, humans adapt in body during war. He tapped his forehead. Now it's time for our brains to adapt. Ward raised an eyebrow. They already were. He grinned wider. No, Commander. They were just waking up. 2 hours earlier, while most of the colony slept, the scientists had gathered in the abandoned research building. 12 men and women with tired eyes, caffeine shaking their hands and fear pushing them forward. They played back the previous battles on screens. Aiden dodging plasma fire with perfect timing. Civilians turning junk into weapons. Children using drones like natural-born pilots. A scientist named Dr. Halima Chen whispered, "This isn't random. Humans are entering a new cognitive state." Dr. Rowe nodded. "This is survival evolution. If our bodies adapt, our technology must adapt too. Right now, they got to work. No breaks, no sleep, just pure, wild human innovation. In 3 hours, they created more technology than most species build in a century. Why? Because nothing accelerates human genius like desperation. Far above them, Commander Xian watched it all through stolen drone feeds. His mandibles twitched in disbelief. "Commander," an officer said, voice trembling, "these humans are building weapons from trash." Xian hissed, "That is impossible." But the footage didn't lie. Humans were welding, coding, inventing, rewriting blueprints, modifying captured Dravic weapons, creating hybrid tech that combined human creativity with Dravic power. "What kind of species," Xian whispered, "turns a coffee machine into a missile launcher?" "Humans, sir." Xian slumped in his chair. This war was turning into a bad dream. Midday. The Dravic launched a full assault. 3 landing ships, 2 atmospheric fighters, and a crawler tank. The colony shook as plasma fire rained down. But this time, the humans were ready. Aiden and his squad took cover behind a moving wall, one of Ro's new machines, a giant walking barricade made from farming machinery. It stomped forward with heavy thuds, blocking incoming plasma like a mobile fortress. Behind it, humans charged. Drones flew overhead, dozens of them, buzzing like angry insects. Ro shouted from the command tower. "Drone Group Alpha, attack formation. Group Beta, flank. Gamma, turn off their sensors." The sky lit up as human-made drones swarmed the Dravic fighters. They weren't military drones. They were hacked cleaning bots, toy drones, mining bots, and broken scout units pieced together. But together, they were a storm. They collided with Dravic ships, overwhelmed sensors, jammed communication lines. One drone even flew directly into the engine of a fighter, overloading it. The fighter spiraled and crashed. Xian stared at the screen. Those drones, they're coordinated. Who is controlling them? A single human child in a bunker. A 12-year-old boy named Rico Solis, wearing a gaming headset, fingers dancing across a controller. He muttered to himself. Same as video games, but now with explosions. His friend beside him whispered, "You're amazing." Rico shrugged. "I'm human. This is what we do when the world tries to kill us." On the ground, Dravic infantry advanced, but the colony answered every move faster than they could predict. Dravic tank fires plasma. Humans reroute coolant lines to flash freeze the plasma midair. Dravic soldiers push forward. Human barricade walker kneels, forming a ramp for soldiers to leap from. Dravic drones swarm. Human engineers release EMP grenades made from old microwaves. Xian watched in disbelief. This is not war. This is chaos with strategy. This is madness with intelligence. He zoomed in on Aiden, who was fighting alongside soldiers, dodging shots, predicting attacks, shouting orders with unnerving calm. "Why is that human not dead yet?" Xian growled. His officer swallowed hard. "Because he learns during battle, sir." "Like all of them." Xian trembled. He finally understood the true nightmare. Human bodies adapt. Human emotions transform. But human minds create. And that makes them unstoppable. Dr. Ro activated the final weapon. A towering machine, built from a water tower, mining drills and repurposed Dravic thrusters, rose behind the colony walls. "What is that?" Ward gasped. Ro puffed his chest. "I call it the human problem solver." It looked ridiculous. It looked impossible. It looked like junk. Then it fired. A massive electromagnetic pulse surged outward, knocking every Dravik drone out of the sky, disabling shields and short-circuiting their crawler tank. The battlefield fell silent. Dravik soldiers froze. Humans stood tall. Aiden stepped forward, panting but smiling. "You want a war," he said. "Fine, but we'll turn every rock, every wire, every broken tool into something that kills you." He raised a captured Dravik rifle. "Because when human minds join the fight, you've already lost." On his ship, Zian stared into the smoke-filled valley. "Day 4, he recorded. "Humans are no longer adapting. They are inventing. If this continues, the Dravik Empire may fall." He paused. "No, if this continues, the galaxy may fall." The war was no longer about land or victory. The Dravik had awakened the most dangerous force in the universe. Human intelligence under pressure. And it was only getting started. When the galaxy learns what humans really are. The Dravik expected humans to break. They expected fear. They expected surrender. They expected desperation. Instead, they found something far more dangerous. They found allies. Not because humans begged for help. Not because humans asked for support. But because the galaxy saw something it had never witnessed. Humans fighting with rage, intelligence, unity, and heart. And other species felt pulled toward that fire. 3 days after the scientists unleashed their inventions, the colony of Delta 5 was still standing, burned, cracked, damaged, but unbroken. Smoke covered the horizon. Human drones patrolled the sky. Children directed surveillance feeds. Soldiers cleaned weapons. Engineers rebuilt walls like a machine assembly line. Everyone worked. Everyone adapted. Everyone evolved. Commander Elena Ward watched the sunrise with tired eyes. She had not slept for 47 hours. Aiden Cole joined her. He looked like a man pulled from a furnace, injured, exhausted, but somehow stronger each day. "Commander," he said softly, "they'll come back today." "We know," Ward replied. "Then we keep improving." Only humans could speak about survival as casually as weather. But far beyond Delta 5. In deep space, the consequences of this war were spreading like wildfire. The message that changed everything. A Dravik broadcast, intended only for internal military use, was intercepted by other species. It was Commander Zian's voice. Desperate. Shaking. Afraid. "Do not underestimate humans. They learn, they adapt. Their rage is controlled. Their minds are unpredictable. One human colony held our entire fleet. The message should have been hidden. But once leaked, it traveled across star systems faster than light. Every species that had ever been bullied by the Dravik stopped and listened. Every species that had been oppressed now saw hope. And that hope had a name. Humans. The first to arrive, the Korvali. On the 5th morning, while the humans fortified the walls, the sky shimmered with blue light. A Korvali scout ship exiting warp. The Korvali were small floating jelly-like beings, peaceful and timid. They had no military might. They had no weapons. But they had information. The ship opened and a Korvali elder, glowing gently, floated down. Aiden raised his rifle cautiously. "Identify yourself." The Korvali's voice echoed like soft music. "We come in peace. We come because you fight the Dravik. And we have suffered under them for generations." Commander Ward lowered her weapon. "You risked your lives to come here." The Korvali nodded. "Humans stand up when others fall. We want to stand with you." Their gift. A data crystal containing maps of Dravik weak points and secret attack routes. Roe held the crystal like Christmas came early. Commander, this gives us a 40% survival boost. Ward smiled. Welcome to the resistance. The second to arrive, The Ractori. Hours later, the ground trembled. A massive ship descended, twice the size of any Dravic cruiser. Humans panicked, running to cover. Aiden shouted, "Positions." But then the ship opened, releasing 12 towering armored warriors. Bodies covered in spikes. Eyes glowing red. Ward whispered, "Oh no, new enemies." A Ractori warrior slammed his giant spear into the ground and roared. "We come to kill Dravik." Everyone froze. The warrior thumped his chest. "We are Ractori. Dravic destroyed our moons. We fight beside any species who stands against them. Humans, you have earned our respect." They kneeled, kneled to the humans. Aiden swallowed hard. A whole warrior race just bowed. Ward whispered back, "Humans inspire loyalty, even from monsters." Ractori warriors took positions along the wall. Their presence alone doubled morale. The third to arrive, the Skywhirlers. By dusk, the sky filled with hundreds of glowing wings. Skywhirlers, bird-like creatures known for speed, aerial grace, and fierce independence, circled above the colony. Aiden squinted. "What are they doing?" Commander Ward answered with quiet awe. "They're forming a shield grid. An air barrier. They're protecting us." One Skywhirler descended. "We watched your battle. No species fights for children with such fury. Humans are worthy." And for the first time ever, Skywhirlers flew as a formation over another species' settlement. The Dravik response. Deep inside his warship, Commander Zian stared at the holomap with horror. Half a dozen alien races had gathered around one human colony. Not just to watch. To fight. To protect. "This is impossible," Zian growled. "Humans were supposed to be weak. Harmless. Alone." His officer's voice trembled. "It appears humans inspire something the Dravic do not." "And what is that?" Zian spat. The officer whispered a word no Dravic liked. "Hope." Zian slammed his fist into the console. "Prepare every ship, every soldier. We strike now, before this human alliance grows stronger." But Zian was too late. It had already begun to grow. And his final attack would not be against humans alone. The Great Alliance formation. Back in Delta 5, all species gathered around the colony wall. Humans, Corvalli, Ractori, Skywhirlers. Different bodies, different languages, different histories, but one common enemy. Ward stood on a crate, commanding presence sharp as a blade. "Today," she shouted, "the Dravic come with their biggest force. They think fear will break us. They think numbers will crush us. They think we are alone." She pointed at the united species. "But the galaxy is watching. And the galaxy stands with us." Aiden stepped forward, lifting his rifle. "Humans don't abandon anyone. So if the Dravic attack..." He chambered a round. "They fight all of us." Ractori slammed their spears. Skywhirlers screeched. Corvalli glowed brighter. Humans roared. It was the kind of roar that makes reality shake. And then the sky turned red. Every species fell silent as clouds parted and light bled across the horizon. Hundreds of Dravic warships arrived. Not dozens. Not scores. Hundreds. Commander Ward whispered. "It's starting." Aiden gripped his rifle. "Let them come." For the first time in galactic history, multiple species stood together. All because humans refused to fall. And war exploded once more. But this time, humans weren't just fighting for themselves. They were leading an entire galaxy. The last stand of Delta 5. The sky did not turn red because of sunlight. It turned red because hundreds of Dravic warships burned their thrusters at once, forming a wall of fire across the heavens. A sky-sized knife, a storm of metal, a promise of destruction. Every species in Delta 5 froze. Even the fearless Raktori warriors felt a chill crawl up their spines. Even the floating Corvalli dimmed their lights. Even the proud Skywhirlers stopped flapping their wings. And humans clenched their jaws. Commander Elena Ward stepped forward, staring at the impossible sight above them. "This is it," she whispered. "Everything comes here." Aiden Cole tightened his grip on his rifle. He didn't shake. He didn't panic. He didn't flinch. But he did breathe once deeply. Because humans do something strange when facing impossible odds. They don't give up. They sharpen. The Dravik Supreme Fleet. Above them, Commander Xian stood at the center of his flagship, surrounded by generals, strategists, and elite soldiers. "This colony falls today," Xian growled. "No more human surprises. No more tricks. No more evolution." He pointed at Delta 5. "Burn it to ashes." The Dravic fleet began charging every cannon. But his officer noticed something odd on the sensors. "Commander, multiple species are defending the humans." Xian snarled. "Let them die with their pets." The officer swallowed hard but said nothing. Because deep down, even the Dravic feared what they saw below. Unity. Something the Dravic Empire could never understand. The silence before impact. On Delta 5, the world went quiet, a deep, terrifying quiet, like the universe was scared to breathe. Then came the sound. A slow, steady thrum. A vibration through the earth. A heartbeat made of metal and war. Thuum. 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 Aiden whispered, "The plasma cannons are charging." Everyone tensed. Then Ward's voice cut through the fear. "All species. All DFE&DRS. Positions." Her shout carried across the colony like thunder. Raktori slammed their shields into the ground. Skywhirlers formed an aerial net. Corvalli linked their energy fields. Human drones lifted into the air like a swarm of angry insects. Engineers activated the walking barrier. Snipers found rooftops. Civilians loaded improvised weapons. It was not a battlefield. It was a world of fighters. All because humans didn't kneel. The first strike. The Dravic fired the opening salvo. A crimson beam, big enough to slice a mountain, shot from the flagship and tore through the clouds. A direct hit. Everyone screamed. "Barrier," Ward ordered. The Corvalli energy field extended just in time, meeting the beam with a blinding flash. The entire colony shook. Windows shattered. Ground cracked. Drones dropped from the sky. But the Corvalli held. Barely. One Corvalli elder dimmed completely. Aiden caught him before he fell. "Are you okay?" The elder's voice trembled. "Human, your people inspire us. For that we hold." Aiden squeezed his floating body gently. "Then we hold together." The second strike. The Dravic unleashed their full firepower. Dozens of beams rained down. Explosions ripped trenches across the colony. Fire pillars roared through buildings. Turrets melted. Walls collapsed. People were thrown to the ground. But humans didn't run. They fought. Aiden rolled behind rubble as a plasma bolt hit inches away. He saw a Raktori warrior grab two wounded humans and shield them with his own armored body. Skywhirlers swooped down, picking up wounded civilians and carrying them to safety. Human snipers picked off Dravik drop troops the second they touched the ground. Dr. Rowe shouted orders at his machines. Walker Shield stepped forward. Drone Group Delta, circle the tank. Microwave bombs ready in 3, 2, throw. Every species, every fighter, every mind, all working together. The Dravik expected easy prey. What they got was a beast. A collective monster made of humans and their allies. The Dravik ground invasion. When orbital attacks failed to break the colony, Xian sent ground troops, waves of armored Dravik soldiers marching like a metal tide. Ward's voice echoed again. All units. This is the final wave. Human hearts pounded. Vaktori roared. Corvalli glowed brighter. Skywhirlers screeched above like thunderbirds. Aiden stood at the front line, plasma rifle humming. "Commander," he said quietly, "if we fall fighting." Ward nodded. "Yes, but we won't fall." "Why?" Aiden asked. She stared at him with human fire. "Because humans don't die alone anymore." The collision. When the Dravik reached the walls, the world exploded into chaos. Raktori slammed their spears into Dravik soldiers, cracking armor plates. Humans used EMP grenades to shut down Dravik shields. Corvalli formed energy rings that trapped enemy squads. Skywhirlers dived down like living missiles. Human drones detonated among the enemy ranks. Engineers activated the mining lasers, cutting through Dravik tanks. Aiden fought like a storm, dodging, firing, flipping over rubble, protecting civilians with impossible reflexes. Xian landed personally with an elite guard. He roared human. "You cannot win." Aiden stepped forward. His eyes cold. His voice steady. "We already won when the galaxy stood with us." Xian charged. Aiden met him head-on, with more precision than any human should have. Their clash sent shockwaves through the ground. The shadow of the flagship. While the ground battle raged, the Dravik flagship lowered from the sky, its massive hull blocking out the sun. Ward looked up and whispered, "That ship will destroy us." Dr. Rowe shouted, "Unless we destroy it first." He activated something behind the colony. A machine. A giant machine. The problem solver Mark II. A tower of scrap and brilliance, fueled by human desperation and genius. Ward shouted, "Fire." The machine blasted a beam of raw energy. A fusion of human tech and stolen Dravik power. Straight into the flagship. The flagship's shields shattered like glass. Xian froze mid-fight as alarms blared across his suit. His eyes widened. "No. No. Impossible." The moment everything turns. The flagship began to fall. Not slowly. Not gracefully. It fell like a dying star. Engines exploding. Hull cracking. Trails of fire ripping across the sky. Ward screamed, "Take cover." Everyone dove for safety. The flagship slammed into the valley outside Delta 5, causing a quake that shook the horizon. A massive shockwave rolled over the colony. Dust and fire erupted into the air. And the world went silent. After the smoke cleared, Aiden pushed himself out of the rubble, coughing, bleeding, half-dazed. He looked around. Raktori still lived. Skywhirlers still circled. Corvalli still glowed, dim but present. Humans stood up one by one, stubborn and breathing. And Xian. Xian lay in the dirt, armor cracked, strength drained. Aiden limped toward him. Xian whispered, "Humans are monsters." Aiden shook his head. "No. We are survivors. And we don't survive alone." The Dravik army was broken. their flagship destroyed, their fleet fleeing. Delta 5 still stood, against every expectation, against every number, against every rule, because humans do not lose when they stand with allies. They lead, and the galaxy had finally seen it. When the galaxy chose humanity, the battlefield was quiet now. Not peaceful, never peaceful, but quiet in a heavy, meaningful way, like the world was holding a deep breath after screaming for hours. Smoke drifted over the ruins of Delta 5. The broken Dravik flagship still burned in the valley like a fallen metal mountain. Dravik bodies lay scattered. Human wounded were carried by sky whirlers. Corvalli floated gently over injured soldiers, pouring soft light to ease pain. Raktori guarded every entrance, their armor scratched, dented, but proud. Aiden Cole sat on a broken wall, exhausted beyond words. His face was dirty, his clothes torn, his arm bleeding, yet he was alive. Alive because humans refused to die. Commander Elena Ward limped toward him, leaning on a metal beam for support. "You did it, Aiden," she said, her voice soft and shaking. "We all did it." Aiden looked at the battlefield. "What now?" Ward smiled slowly. "Now, the galaxy changes. The galaxy RESPONDS. The message of the battle spread like wildfire. Within hours, dozens of alien species received broadcasts showing a human colony holding against a supreme fleet, a mix of species fighting side by side, a Dravik flagship crashing in flames. Every oppressed race, every tiny world, every bullied colony watched in shock as the impossible became real. No one expected humans to survive. No one expected humans to inspire. No one expected humans to lead. But they did. And now the galaxy's old fear of the Dravik was replaced by a new feeling. Courage. The Dravik Surrender Council. Days later, a silver diplomatic ship landed near Delta 5. Out stepped representatives from neutral worlds, sent to negotiate Dravik surrender. They found Commander Ward waiting, bruised but standing tall. A Corvalli elder floated beside her. Two Raktori warriors stood behind her like bodyguards. A skywhirler perched on the rail above, wings glowing blue. The delegates stared in awe. "You humans," one whispered, "have united species that have never agreed on anything." Ward nodded. "They didn't unite because of us. They united because we refused to abandon them." "In the Dravik surrender," another asked. "We'll discuss their terms," Ward said calmly. "But this time the galaxy, not the Dravik, will decide the rules." Zyrn's final moment. Commander Xian, the feared Dravik warlord, sat in a containment cell made of human scrap metal and Corvalli energy fields. His armor cracked, his pride shattered, his empire on its knees. Aiden approached the cell quietly. Xian looked up with tired eyes. "Human," he rasped, "why didn't you kill me? You had every reason." Aiden leaned forward. "Because survival isn't revenge. It's future." Xian frowned. "What future? The Dravik are finished." Aiden smiled faintly. "That depends on what you choose to be. You can rebuild your people differently, peacefully. The galaxy won't accept the old Dravik anymore." Xian stared at him for a long time. "You fight like monsters," he whispered. "But you govern like saints." Aiden laughed softly. "No, we're neither, we're human." And for the first time, Xian bowed his head. Not in defeat, but in respect. The Great Alliance Declaration. 2 weeks later, a massive gathering took place in the center of Delta 5, on the same field where Dravik ships had once landed with threats. Now dozens of alien banners waved. Speakers hovered. Lights glowed. Crowds filled the colony. This was not a battle. Not a plea, not a fear-driven meeting. This was history. Commander Ward stood on a rebuilt platform. Her voice echoed across the valley. Today, we signed the first interspecies alliance. Not led by humans, not forced by strength, but built from survival, courage, and unity. Cheers erupted. Aiden stepped forward with the Corvalli elder, a Raktori chieftain, and a Skywhirler captain. Together they placed their hands, clawed, glowing, feathered, and human, on a central pillar. A bright energy burst upward. The galaxy had a new alliance, a new protector, a new symbol of hope, and humans stood right at the center. The final message. Later that night, Commander Ward recorded a transmission for all human colonies in deep space. Her face was tired but proud. This is Elena Ward of Delta 5. We survived the Dravik. We rebuilt with allies. And today, we became part of something greater. She paused, eyes softening. But let this message carry something more. A warning and a promise. Aiden entered the frame beside her. Ward continued. To all species watching, do not mistake humanity's kindness for weakness. Do not mistake our peace for surrender. Do not mistake our silence for fear. We fight with others, not against them. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. And when someone forces us into a corner, she looked at Aiden. He finished the final line. Humans become the last thing you ever want to face. The transmission ended with a final seal. The United Alliance of Delta 5. Led by humanity. Protected by many. Feared by those who threaten peace. The future of the galaxy. Months passed. Delta 5 was rebuilt, stronger than ever. Skywhirlers patrolled the skies. Raktori trained human soldiers. Corvalli scientists worked with human engineers to design new technology. Aiden sat beside the new memorial wall, tracing the names of lost civilians with his fingers. Ward approached him. A new fleet is forming, she said. A peaceful one, a protective one. Aiden nodded. And humans are part of it. No, Ward replied. Aiden looked at her, confused. Then she smiled. Humans are leading it. Aiden breathed deeply. Delta 5 had changed the galaxy. One small colony. One impossible war. One moment where humanity refused to break. Now the galaxy had a future. Because humans don't just survive war. They rewrite the rules of it. The final line. As Aiden walked toward the new dawn, he whispered to himself. This is only the beginning. And the universe listened. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon for more amazing videos.